Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. Here again, I am reading the newspaper. It was a pending newspaper which I had to read because one day waste feels like a burden to me. So, I just thought of having a quick read. Usually, I take strict 90 minutes or less in reading a newspaper. But here in this one, as you can see, it took me a little longer. And that's rare. And sometimes it just happens. You know, in the process of reading, we encounter with some really interesting articles which are not that important for the exam perspective, but they are really tempting for you to just read it, and that's the reason it takes longer to complete it. Here also, I read some articles that were only out of interest, but I think we should avoid it as much as we can because we should be strict with our allotted time and not give in to our interest only, because these things later create a mental barrier for us, and we just avoid reading it totally, assuming that it takes huge time, while that's not true. It is us that make it harder, you know. And also about note making, it's not very important to note everything um, from the newspaper, as that's not very useful. You just have to note down some important points to later make a comprehensive note on that particular topic. Like we are reading the paper like while we are reading the paper, it may seem it may seem to us that we need to note this and that. It's looking very important, and it is very important. But when we think, there is only abstract information available here related to the current news that is going on, and that's recurring. But for exam perspective, we should separately make the notes for the topic. You know, for like from Google search. For example, about Viksit Bharat Ji Ramji Act. You have to Google it by adding the particular exam name. Like for UPSC, you have to add UPSC, and you will get you will get the needed information for that examination all in one place. So that makes easier for you to note down and have comprehensive knowledge about that very particular topic. And that doesn't mean uh, we just stop taking notes, as it may feel so. But just think, what is reading without notebook or pen or pencil? So we have to balance between both the things. Between We have to decide which should be noted down and which should not, and we have to keep our interest limited to ourselves and not let it go interrupt in our time management. So the another point I wanted to share is that the editorial part. uh, Now, this is a highly rated thing for any aspirants who are advised to read newspaper, and that's because by this we are reading different opinions of scholars on the contemporary diverse topics. It's important, of course, because eventually we tend to form our own individual opinions about things which we were probably ignorant about. But here's the thing, not every opinion should be read. When we see there are repetition of topics, who we should just avoid it, as we would waste our strictly managed time in that. And there is one more thing I wanted to say, and that's about reading already read articles. Yes, for example, when you have read a particular topic which reoccurs, then we should just avoid delving deeper into that. uh, we have to see the updates and move on to another article. And because these are the ways that we can save and manage our time and prevent ourselves from wasting too much time on reading, reading the right things. The economics topics are not very prominent in the world, and for that we have to see economics. We have to see other economic sources, like we have to check PIV news and economic survey and budget. And for international relations, I would say we don't get much from just one dedicated page for that. It's a most dynamic subject, so we have to watch other sources too. And uh, just one thing to be careful in the world news is that don't read the stories and recurring articles, as it takes a lot more time. At last, I would say reading newspaper is an important part of our personality. Even if we are not reading for the examination, just we should just read it without notebook or pen or pencil, as it is a very good addition to our thinking and our perspective. So that's it for today. Uh, uh, we will meet again in another video. So bye bye, take care, and keep reading.